The last time I saw Ben, he was walking away from me, his back disappearing into the stormy sky like a phantom. The rain poured down, mixing with my tears, and I could barely breathe through the suffocating weight of my broken heart. Sometimes it feels as though that moment happened yesterday, like the thunderous crash of the storm matched the wreckage of my life. It's funny how something so final can leave such a lingering pain, like the jagged edge of a glass shard stuck in my chest. I'm Mia, 30 years old now, with chestnut hair that used to dance in the wind when I laughed, but now it just hangs heavy, mirroring the way my heart feels. I sit at my desk, the curtains drawn, an empty apartment echoing my loneliness, and I pour my pain into a letter, one that will never see the light of day. Each word drips with memories of us, our dreams that fell apart like paper slipping from my hands, memories that haunt me but fuel my fire. Why did he leave? Did I not love enough, or was his heart simply a desert to my ocean of feelings? I want to scream, to rage against him for the emptiness he has left. I didn't expect to write this, an unsent letter full of every question I never asked, every breath I wish I could take back. In moments of raw honesty, I dig into the ache, the desperation of being left without answers. As I pour out everything, my dreams, my anger, the shuddering hurt, my heart races with thoughts of revenge. How could he do this to me? How could he live without a second thought? I want him to hurt. Part of me knows that embracing this darkness might be dangerous, but it's a dance I could not resist, an invitation to feel powerful again, if only through words. I can feel it surging within me, this desire to reclaim my narrative, to take control over the story he abandoned. I imagine standing in front of him again, this time with the letter, the raw contents spilling forth like hot lava, scorching our shared history. What will it be like to watch him crumble under the weight of my words? To see the remorse in his eyes, to hear him say my name like a prayer as he faces the chaos he created and left behind. I close my eyes and picture him, his handsome face scrunched in confusion and pain, and that fuels me even more. But for now, the letter sits heavy on my heart. It's not yet time. With every fiber of my being, I know I need to face him directly, needing him to feel the same loneliness that had become my long-term companion. I gear myself up for that confrontation. The letter is my weapon, and it will be unleashed when the moment is right. And in this moment of anticipation, I stand on the threshold of something monumental, the point where my heart is about to turn to stone. But the house feels dark. A chill runs down my spine. Then I hear something, a quiet, familiar laugh from outside my window, the sound piercing through the fragile calm of my thoughts. And there he is, Ben, the man who broke me, standing at my doorstep like some cruel twist of fate, just as I was preparing to confront the ghosts of our past. And suddenly, every ounce of my carefully constructed resolve starts to slip away. My heartbeat races, a mix of terror and anger swelling in my chest. This moment, here and now, was not what I had planned, not at all. Instead of feeling like I hold the power, I feel vulnerable, exposed before the abyss of emotions I thought I had locked away. My fingers twitch around the edge of the letter, clenching it tight as if it might slip away. And just like that, standing there, I realize I am right back where I began, teetering on the edge of decision, caught between vengeance and vulnerability. I stand there, frozen, my breath held tight in my chest as Ben's laughter fades, replaced by the echo of my heartbeat drumming in my ears. Why did he choose this moment, of all moments, to knock on my door? As he raises his hand to rap against the wood, I feel an overwhelming urge to bolt, to hide from him and the tidal wave of emotions he brings. Yet I stay, anchored by the weight of that letter stuffed in my pocket, the words heavy with my hurt. When did he become a ghost? And why is he now standing on my porch as if nothing ever happened? My mind races as guilt skirmishes with rage. The myriad of ways I had imagined this confrontation play like cinema in my mind. But none of those vengeful scenarios included seeing him smiling, the way I remember he once smiled at me, back when everything felt so right. As he knocks again, that smile, even without seeing it up close, stirs a dark mix of longing and ire, filling the air between us like an uninvited fog. I finally realize how unprepared I am. I thought I was ready to hand him the letter that echoes my soul's lament, ready to watch him squirm under the weight of his own guilt. But now, the thought of delivering my heart's most painful truths suddenly feels suffocating. What if it doesn't hurt him the way I need it to? What if he shrugs it off like a bad day at the office? Doubt gnaws at my resolve, but I squeeze my eyes shut, calling up every moment of sorrow, every sleepless night spent staring up at the ceiling, wondering how I could have loved someone who could leave so easily. The knocks become more insistent, dragging me back to reality. I feel my heart crack open just a little, one more sliver of my vulnerability surfacing as I prepare to face the man who shattered all that I had built with him. Can I still summon that anger, that righteous fury I felt while writing my letter? Does it still burn in my veins? A deep breath steadies me. It has to. Maybe just this once I can channel every bit of that hurt into something powerful. Mia, he calls, his voice soft, tentative, like he's afraid of waking something inside me. The little space between us crackles, full of things left unsaid. I force myself to lift my chin, to square my shoulders and open the door. He stands there, not a boy anymore but a man, his eyes searching mine as he takes in the state of me. Dressed in a faded t-shirt that hangs loosely over his shoulders, he looks every bit how I remember, but the joy has gone from him. There's a heaviness in the air, maybe more than what I've been feeling. "Can we talk?" he asks, his voice barely louder than a whisper. How dare he come to me now, when I've spent countless nights rehearsing every word I would say if I ever got the chance, and he thinks we can talk like we're still friends. "Talk," I echo, the word dripping with venom as I gesture around the empty mound of our shattered dreams. A spark of indignation flares within me, anger rekindled. He knows what I have to offer, knows the pain he caused, and still, with absolutely no right, dares to act as if he deserves my words. "You have to be kidding," I say, battling the urge to slam the door in his face. But I don't, because that letter, that vital piece of myself, holds me hostage. It becomes a tether, drawing me back to the reality of my pain. "I've missed you. Can I come in?" His eyes are earnest, but all I see are the memories of him walking away, leaving me with only echoes of our laughter whirling through empty hallways. "Why now? Did you think I was going to wait for you?" The flood of resentment is thickening, wrapping around us both, an invisible chain that rattles with every questioning word. "I couldn't get you out of my head," he says, shaking his head as if to dispel my anger. "I thought I'd lost you for good, and I was wrong for leaving you." His voice quakes with an emotion that feels genuine, threading through the sorrow that's clawing away at my walls. But his remorse is a sharp blade, driving deep into wounds I'm still nursing. The audacity of his words makes me want to scream, but I choke the sound back. I watch as his expression shifts. The hopefulness falls away, replaced by something that resembles regret. My heart twists with my fury. My fingers tighten on the letter, a letter meant to rip into him like he ripped my heart out. "You shouldn't have come here," I murmur, barely above a whisper. I step back, letting the door swing wide. There is no escape from this moment. "Are you really going to stand there and tell me you regret everything?" I demand, each word a staccato beat of my heart's anger. "You think that can fix this, that we can just pick up where we left off?" His face falls like a sheet pulled from a drying line, and in that moment I see the truth. He is just as lost as I am. And that realization hits harder than I expect, shifting the ground beneath my feet. "I want to explain. I owe you that much," he says. Ben leans against my door frame, vulnerability spilling from him like an open wound. He waits for me to respond, but all I can do is stand there dumbfounded. Every instinct screams at me to shut him out, to build up my defenses again. How can I let him toy with my heart when he left it bleeding on the floor? I wish I could hurl that letter at him and watch him squirm. I want to be strong enough to deliver that final blow that would caress my pain with his anguish. But I see something genuine there, and just like that, the burning edges of my rage begin to cool. I wish he were just a monster. "Mia," he presses, pinning me with his gaze, and I see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. You need to understand that," I bite back, words sharp like the jagged pieces he left behind. "Every day without you gnawed at me like a bad dream, and you think you can just walk back in and make it all better. That you can fix what you broke. And there it is, the painful truth that lingers like smoke in the air around us. A chasm yawns wide between who he is now and who he was when he walked out. Everything inside me screams to take that letter, wave it in his face, and demand the truth from him. I have 10 million questions swirling in my head, and yet I feel paralyzed, caught in the web of who we were fighting against who we might be now. The shadows of unresolved anger begin to creep back in, but instead of lashing out, I search for composure. I was going to give you something," I finally say, the words a reluctant release. "But I am not sure anymore if you deserve to see it." Ben's eyes widen, filled with an unspoken curiosity that wants to pry deeper. Letting that curiosity trickle away feels like tearing at a wound, yet I feel that raw pull toward confrontation. What is it? He asks, suddenly alert, and with that question, I realize we have taken our first step into a dangerous realm. I hold the letter tightly against my chest, the piece of me I have carried into this moment. Maybe it is all I ever wanted. That letter is my weapon forged from pain and anger, and I am summoning every ounce of courage I have to plan it before him. But as Ben stands there, the urge to confront is met with a flicker of doubt. What if I cracked open Pandora's box? What if he is not the villain I painted him to be? I feel that weight shifting once again. The balance of power sways like a pendulum, and I am left teetering on the edge of a decision that can change everything. The truth pulls me closer and pushes me further away, and in that chaotic swirl, I stand toe-to-toe with the man who once held my heart, who had the power to break it and now stands before me, illustrating every haunting echo I have tried so hard to silence. The moment stretches, both of us on that precipice of unknown possibilities, each heartbeat echoing the turmoil within me as if the universe itself waits, breathless, for the climax of what happens next. A decision looms just beyond my reach, but its weight lingers in the air, waiting to unearth the past and reshape our future. I cannot breathe as I stand there, my heart a wild drum in my ears, the letter cramming my fingers tighter around its edges. Ben looks up at me, confusion painted across his face like he knows he has woken a ghost. "Mia," he whispers, his voice so different from the laughter I heard moments before. It pulls at the threads of my heart, fraying the anger I had worked so hard to hold on to. I want his regret to burn brightly in his eyes to match the fire in my chest. Instead, I see something softer, darker, shame, longing, and a desperate wish to mend what was shattered. "I'm sorry," he murmurs, and I almost stumble back. Sorry? Is that supposed to be enough? I want to lash out, to unleash the words trapped inside this letter, the words that could carve the pain I've lived with into his soul, but something stops me. In this moment, I am no longer sure if I want revenge or if I simply want him to hurt like I have. But as he stands there, I catch him talking to Natalie, a friend I haven't seen since the breakup. "Leaving Mia was the hardest thing I ever had to do," he confesses, and my breath catches. The words wrap around my throat, squeezing tighter than my emotions ever could. A part of me begins to crack. I hear him continue. "I was stupid, but I thought it was for the best." My resolve wavers like a candle flickering in the dark, casting images of our past before me. Every laugh we shared, every late-night talk filled with dreams, the love that once radiated so fiercely like summer sunshine. "I thought she would be better off," he says, his voice tremulous, raw, trying to spit out truths of his own. But I was wrong. And just like that, I feel something I thought I had buried deep, a pity, a softness, creeping from the edges of despair like shadows stretching to touch light. What if he really means it? With every word, he sounds more vulnerable, and my anger is suddenly swept away by the vulnerability he lays bare like layers of an ancient manuscript, revealing his secrets, his pain. I want to scream and shove him back into those memories because, deep down, I never stopped loving him. "I don't know what to do with this," I finally whisper, feeling the letter slip from my grip just a little as tears prick my eyes. The letter has become heavy and burdensome, almost suffocating, pressing against my chest, and I wonder if I could ever let him read it. Would it even matter, or would it just intensify the hurt? "You were everything to me," I say, and my voice cracks, the weight of his regret pulling at me. He steps closer, and I can see the shift in his face when he realizes that I am not just an obstacle in his life, but perhaps the answer he has been searching for all along. "I still care about you, Mia. I always have," he declares, stepping into the space between us, a bridge over the chasm of broken trust and love that still lingers. And there it is, the electric connection we once had, the undeniable spark that turns every moment into a battlefield where my heart races against the compelling truth. My fingers twitch closer to the letter, and my breath catches, holding the universe of hurt I've felt for some semblance of an eternity. But then Ben reaches out for me, and I feel the delicate line of tension hold us captive. The pulse of his heart is like a drumbeat echoing my own. "Please, Mia, can we just talk?" His eyes glimmer with something I cannot yet decipher. A chance, a hope. Without knowing how I can summon the courage, I nod, the letter forgotten for a heartbeat. This is real, an honest moment, the longing I felt for years hanging heavy in the air. Will he understand my pain? I open my mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. The letter, my weapon, slips from my fingers as if trying to dissolve into the past. I am standing at a crossroads once again, caught in a web of emotions that threaten to trap me. The vulnerability makes my heart race more than holding on to anger ever could. Mia, Ben says again, just my name, as though summoning all the hurt we've shared in that single breath. I inhale deeply, the weight of our past swelling as time stretches, wrapping us in a fragile cocoon, all the while teetering on the brink of something that may change everything. My heart is pounding like a drum when Ben leans closer, the air between us electric. I'm caught in that moment, a swirling storm of anger and the hint of something softer. I feel like a mirage, trapped between the stunning reality of his confession and the ulterior motives I brought to this doorstep. I didn't just leave, it wasn't just about you, Ben says, his eyes earnest. I was thrust into a world I didn't choose, Mia. My parents, they had plans for me, for our future. There's a vulnerability in him I've never seen, and it sinks into me, creating cracks in my resolve. But then a voice crackles from the side. Ben, are you in there? The sound grates at me like steel against flesh. It's a woman, her voice tight and commanding. Panic washes over Ben's face. It's my sister, Sarah. She can't find out. His tone switches from regret to urgent, and suddenly I feel like an intruder, a silent witness to a drama I wasn't privy to. You need to leave, he says, his hand reaching for my arm, but I pull away. You need to be honest, I insist, the letter burning a hole in my pocket, wanting desperately to come into play, only now it feels less like a weapon and more like a lifeline. Wait, just give me a second, he pleads, but tension twists in my chest. I see the guilt flicker in his eyes as he turns toward the door, his mind racing, and in that electric moment, everything spirals. I just wanted closure, to poke at the wounds behind his apologies, but this twist, this flash of family pressure reshapes the whole landscape of my revenge. Before he can unravel more, I demand, how long have you been living this lie? Did you ever love me? Or was I just a pawn in a game far beyond your control? He looks down, pain etched on his face, and it feels like I'm watching his world crumble beneath him. It was never like that, Mia. His hands shake slightly, and just as I'm about to scream for answers, Sarah's voice grows louder. Ben, we don't have time for this. Ben gives me a look, desperation spilling from his eyes as the thread of tension curls impossibly tight. In that instant, I clutch the letter, my heart still pounding, and whisper, if you want to explain, then talk. But if it is just about saving face, I will walk away. My voice is raw, colored with a dizzying soar of feeling that pushes my next move into the unknown. With pleading eyes, Ben whispers, please, Mia. And then the door swings open, and Sarah steps inside. The chill of her presence slices through the warmth we'd created. What the hell is going on, Ben? She averts her gaze from me and straight into him, a look of fury boiling behind her blue eyes. She's every bit the imposing version of family pressure he cowers under, a storm on the horizon filled with the storm clouds of unresolved guilt and secrets he's been harboring. Nothing, I'm fine, he fumbles, but it's too late. Sarah's gaze flits to the letter clutched in my fingers. In that fleeting moment, I see incredulity not with understanding. Is that a letter? What's going on, Ben? She pushes, her tone turning icy like a winter's breath. Time hangs like an unresolved chord, a moment poised at the edge of chaos. You need to go, he pleads with Sarah, panic flooding his features. I told you I will handle this. My chest feels like it's collapsing, the emotional stakes skyrocketing. Suddenly, it's not just about revenge or closure, but about familial loyalty and betrayal. This twist feels like a sick joke, one I didn't anticipate. Handle what? Sarah presses, skepticism clenching her jaw. You think I won't know if you're hiding something? I see him wrestle with his instincts to protect me versus his need to shield his family from the wreckage of past choices. I want to scream that he's been bluffing for so long. Ben, just tell her the truth, I murmur, heart racing. But he shakes his head violently. In that instant, I can feel my heart fracturing, echoing fragments of the lies we've both lived. His silence speaks loudest now, reverberating harder than any confession he could muster. Blood rushes in my ears, blurring the edges of reality as I stand on the brink, the moment stretched taut. I know then, whatever semblance of control I thought I had is slipping like sand through my fingers. And suddenly, it clicks. The reason behind his confession earlier, wrapped in fear and family obligation. The layers of love, guilt, and resentment twist together, forming an unbreakable rope that ties us all together in complex knots. I step backward, steady on my feet yet uncertain in my heart. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about him and the life he's forced to protect. Please. Ben's voice pierces through my haze, his desperation real raw. but I can hardly register the truth gleaming behind his eyes, the wounds that go beyond our romance. You don't understand. I didn't leave you because I stopped loving you, Mia. I did it because I had to survive. And the room chills, the tension thick enough to cut, every heartbeat pounding louder than the last. I have broken, but now I'm left with the weight of his words hanging there, a desperate breath caught in my throat. I stand here, at yet another crossroads in a journey I didn't realize we were both meant to travel, both so tightly tethered by choices that felt less like a decision and more like fate. My decision is looming, heavy with emotional stakes, the choice between revenge or a path I never saw coming. What will I do now? I take a step back, feeling like I'm suspended in time, unsure of what's next. Ben's eyes are shimmering with unshed tears, a stark contrast to the hardened man I thought I knew. I see now that behind the facade of my ex-fiancé is a person tied up in obligations, battling demons I never knew existed. Please, he implores, his voice cracking like fragile glass under pressure. His vulnerability tugs at something deep within me, stirring memories of love that linger still, despite the wounds. Each passing moment feels like slow decay, yet it's brimming with potential for healing. Instead of extracting my revenge through the cold words of my letter, I take a breath and decide to let our pain breathe for a moment. Right, I finally say, my voice trembling. I don't fully understand. It's a choice that surprises me. Where once I wanted his suffering to mirror my own, I realize now that real strength lies in understanding. It's a shift that leads me to a newer, more compassionate path. As I speak those words, I start to feel the heavy burden on my chest ease up, piece by piece, like the thaw of winter giving way to spring. Ben blinks, uncertainty mixed with relief floods his features. The silence hangs, pregnant with unspoken feelings. And as we stand there, the memories of my lonely nights, the anger that churned through my days, and the dreams we once shared all swirled together in a bittersweet haze. It's overwhelming, this rush of emotions, tangled between what was lost and what we could still salvage. Why didn't you tell me? I ask, my own hurt wrapped in a question. Because it terrified me, he admits quietly, his gaze dropping. I thought I was losing my family, my life as I knew it. I didn't want to hurt you, I just had to go. I can't help but wonder how many lives get caught in the web of obligation, how often love is sacrificed at the altar of what's expected. Instead of indulging in my rage, instead of striking back with those long-rehearsed lines from my letter, I start to see how intertwined our stories really are. We are both victims of circumstances beyond our control. They say hindsight is 20/20, but here in the present, I wish we'd navigated this messy reality sooner. Maybe that's the essence of forgiveness, an understanding that it doesn't erase the past, but allows room for grace. In this moment, it feels as if I'm shedding the bitterness along with the weight of betrayal. As Ben looks up at me again, there's something unmistakably open about his demeanor. Maybe I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope, he whispers, only to falter. I nod slightly, the faintest of smiles curling my lips. You know, I'm learning that holding on to my anger only cages me more. The clarity that blooms within is frightening yet liberating. I'll never forget the pain he caused, but I'm no longer a prisoner of it. There is an undeniable shift in the air between us, filled with a resonance I didn't think possible just moments ago. The love remains, wrapped now in layers of empathy, a safe harbor rather than a stormy sea. I still wish I had done things differently, he adds, his sincerity washing over me like rain on parched earth. It isn't an easy path, but perhaps acceptance is just one step away from healing. With the raw ache feels lighter, I realize it's time to confront the truth. We may never return to what we once were, and perhaps that's not the goal anymore. I take a long, slow breath, gathering fragments of my fragmented heart. I think I'm ready to move on, I finally declare, letting each word fall like confetti of new intentions around us. A sweep of relief washes over Ben's face, embedded with understanding. Then let's make this goodbye count, Mia. I smile, finally looking him in the eyes as I hand him my letter. This letter taught me a lesson. A goodbye is really a beginning in disguise. The way he accepts that letter, slow, reverent, closes the chapter for us both in a way I couldn't predict. The last damage inflicted is but a stepping stone towards healing. As we part ways, I notice my heart feels different, not just lighter but somehow fuller. I couldn't have unraveled these threads without confronting the man who I'd almost let ruin my life. Maybe that's the true measure of strength, to face your past and step boldly into a brighter future. Once I'm home, I sit in the stillness of my empty apartment, feeling the quiet buzz of a newfound grace envelop me. No longer am I shackled by bitterness. There's an open door ahead, uncharted and ready for exploration. Revenge lost its power over me. Shedding my need to lash out left me with the freedom to rewrite my stories however I please. So, here I stand, transformed. And as I reflect on this journey of heartbreak, confrontation, and release, I feel compelled to ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? Sometimes letting go is the bravest thing we can do, and every decision leads us somewhere important. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more real tales. Together, let's keep unpacking these complex layers of human experience, one story at a time.